Hello, everyone. Today is April 10th, 2022, and I've been meaning to discuss the Zelensky speeches. He made a number of speeches in March of 2022. I've been meaning to discuss those speeches for some time now, but I just got busy with other things. Days kept going by, but today I have some time, and I thought I'm going to talk about this. So I want to start with who is President Zelensky. So, for some of you, when I said Zelensky, you probably did not make the connection, but I hope most of you did. President Zelensky is the current president of Ukraine. We know that Russia launched a war against Ukraine in February, and since then, the war has been going on. There's been fighting going on. Civilians have been impacted. It's in the news. We hear the news every day. There are advances being done, and then Russia has pulled back a little bit in some areas, but the war is pretty much currently going on. The I've actually put a photograph of President Zelensky on the screen for us to view because I think this is very, very interesting that this is the face that President Zelensky presents as during the time when he's leading his country at war with Russia. Russia is a very, very strong country. Compared to that, when the war started, we said Ukraine would not stand a chance. But Ukraine has held its own. Yes, there has been a lot of um, death, a lot of bad things going on. But what President Zelensky has managed to do over the last couple of months is nothing short of amazing. He is an amazing leader. How did he get to be there is something where what I want to talk about today. So, I want to start with some background information. This is all publicly available information. What is his full name? His full name is Volodymyr Alexandrovich Zelensky. He is born to Jewish parents. He grew up speaking Russian. He has a degree in law, but he started his career as an actor and as a comedian. He is a millionaire, but he made his millions by himself. As part of his acting career, he started a production company in which he, produced a lot of shows. One of the very, very popular shows is called the TV series Servant of the People, where he actually played the role of the president of Ukraine. And he was a teacher who was shot into limelight and he became the president of Ukraine. He is 5 feet 7 inches. Now, I won't say whether he's very tall or not tall, it is all relative. But just to put him into perspective, when he enters a room, he is about 5 feet 7 inches tall. He currently is 44 years old. So, again, to put it into perspective, does he have the foresight of the experience, not the foresight? Does he have the experience of the people who are very old? We have politicians who are in their 60s, who are in their 70s, even more in the global arena. And he is relatively young. He is 44 years old. He's married. He has two kids. And he is the sixth president of Ukraine. Again, putting it into perspective, Ukraine is a pretty young country compared to, I'm saying, US, which has been the first democracy. Zelensky shot into the limelight. Yes, he was an actor, so he was well known over the country of Ukraine. But when he announced his intent to run for presidency, it was like a bang. He did it uh, 2019 New Year's. His announcement coincided with the then president's New Year announcement. And there were some technical difficulties where it kind of, his announcement came above the then the president of Ukraine's announcement, New Year speech to his people. When he was elected, actually, he there was a landslide win of 73% versus about 24% because there was the turnout of 62% within the country. So he shot to limelight with a landslide victory. His The way he carried out his campaign was not the traditional manner. He did not participate in debates, and he did not do speeches, but he used the power of social media to run his campaign. And when he was during his campaign and when he was elected, he has always been a proponent of unity between the Ukrainian people and the Russian speaking population of Ukraine. And to that end, when he became the president, he tried to attempt in a dialogue with Russia. But we know nothing came of it because there was an escalation of tensions with Russia, and then Russia did a full scale invasion of Ukraine in February of 22. I will go on, and what I'm sharing right now here is President Zelensky's transformation from what he was in his official portrait in 2019, and what his current appearances, what his speeches are to the world. Over here, I've shown snippets of his speech to Japan, Germany, Israel, and the European Union. All of these happened in March. Uh, I've also listed out some of the days in March when he made speeches. This is not a exhaustive list. It does not include every speech he made. But if you go to the Ukrainian president's website, you will see the entire list of speeches he made in the month of March. He addressed a number of countries in the same day. For example, like over here, it shows he did US and Germany in the same day. That was amazing because he just does not go and address the parliament. He actually makes those speeches publicly. So he does it to the entire country. He tried his best to reach out to the masses and speak to them. Uh, and when he made those speeches, it says standing ovation. He did get standing ovation, but did they make a lasting impression? Is We'll have to see what happens. From March to April, he is pretty frustrated because what he wanted to garner from those speeches, what he wanted basically, is not he's not getting as much. But it is amazing the effort that he's putting in. When he makes these speeches, he tries to connect to the people one on one. He mentions about their history. For example, when he spoke to US, he mentioned 9/11, about how 9/11 impacted US, how civilians were impacted. He draws parallels between what happened in 9/11 and what's happening in his country, where civilians are getting impacted, and then what the action that US took when that happened in US, and um, what he is doing and how he is justified in protecting his people, and what help he needs from US to, he talks about that. Uh, the other thing I want to mention, like, I'm going to go back to these photographs. When you look at the backdrop, pretty simple. There's a flag, his Ukraine's flag, in every picture. He wears he's down to earth, and he's wearing this green color, the color of the military forces, showing that he is leading his country into war. Uh, you see his face is a little tired. His beard is a little grown. He So this is all showing that he is really working hard. He uses a clenched fist in a lot of his speeches, where he wants to, come through the screen with his frustration, with what he's feeling. He sometimes signs off with a clenched fist. That's the sign of resistance towards what's happening to his country. All of these things make an impact to the people watching these speeches. Just to mention a few other things, when he addressed Japan's parliament, he spoke about the nuclear disasters. When he spoke to Israel, he mentioned the Holocaust. There was also a little bit of controversy about it, about him comparing aspects of the Holocaust to what's happening in Ukraine. When he spoke to Britain, he actually took portions of Churchill's speech during World War II, and he included that in his, not word to word, but he included them in a manner. There were similarities between Churchill's speech and his speech. um, all this is really interesting. His speeches are very powerful. uh, they are they're not very long, they're not very short, they're about 10 to 12 minutes. He delivers those speeches in his own language, his own native language, and there is a translator who translates those speeches. In the first couple of minutes, he makes that connection with the audience, where he would mention, like for US, he mentioned 9/11. People connect to that. When he spoke to UK, he mentioned Churchill's speech. People really connect to them. Those are some powerful things that these countries have experienced, and he uses that to connect to the people. He, in most of his speeches, he wants to bring awareness about the war. He asks for help from these countries. Like when he spoke to US and Canada, he specifically said he wants a no-fly zone. Um, he did not get it, but he still asked for it. And while asking for it, he shames the countries into not doing enough for what they believe in. He scolds them, he rebukes them. He when he spoke to, I'm not 100% sure, but he spoke to a country where he mentioned that you have given me $1 billion to fight this war against Russia, and we are grateful and thankful for that. But at the same time, he said, what is that $1 billion in contrast to you buying the Russian oil, which converts to billions of dollars every month that you are handing off to Russia? So in a way, he kind of conveys that you portray you are helping me, and yes, we are thankful for that help. At the same time, you definitely are going against even that help that you're giving me by helping Russia even more than what you're helping me. So he addresses this to the public. He kind of shows them, he's transparent about it. And uh, I mentioned about his clenched fist. That's his emotions, his frustration that come across, that he's not able to convey to everybody what Ukraine is going through, and he's not able to stop the suffering of his people. His speeches are, I've always wondered whether his speeches are practiced. Um, I would say that yes, he definitely he has a script that he goes by, because these speeches are written and then shared among among the countries before he goes live and speaks them out. But um, but he brings himself to the speech. He has made so many speeches over his lifetime that he is really into it, and what comes across is that he's a genuine person, and so that really comes across in his speeches. Um, there's one question there: is his image manicured? uh, is he trying to portray something that he is not? Obviously, that is an opinion. Every person who looks at that will have their own opinion. I feel that his concern for his country is absolutely, absolutely genuine. That's what my opinion is. There are aspects of his speeches where he practices so that he comes across in the manner he wants to, where he makes the most impact. So some of it I definitely believe is manicured, where he has practiced it, but his overall intent, I feel, to impact is to impact the people he wants help from, is definitely practiced. And I support that. When you want something, you should present yourself as that. When you go to a job, you present yourself, you wear job related clothes and you go there. You won't go there as if you're just out there for socializing. So in that way, he has put in work, but at the same time, it isn't that, it's not just that hollow shell. He brings himself there. We see that he is working hard. His backdrop, and he's in hiding, so his backdrop, the type of clothes, they're not luxurious. They're showing that he's a man who's working hard, who's in hiding, but at the same time he has the best interest of his country at heart. So, all in all, I feel that I've still not done justice to the speeches he's made, but I hope I have initiated some thought process in you, and you can go ahead and do your own research and look into this. Before the Oscars, there was a talk about that he might make an appearance on the Oscar award function. We know it did not happen. Um, but it was very interesting. There was a lot of interest in this. That will he show up on the Oscars and make a speech for his country, because he would have got a wide audience at the Oscar award ceremony. This was a question asked by one of my students about what are the countries that are supporting Russia. So he's making these speeches to so many countries that we know support Ukraine. But what about the countries that are supporting Russia? Do we know them? And I've put in some maps also for visualization and bringing things into perspective. This is Russia. There are other countries that were part of the Soviet Union prior to when Soviet Union broke up, and they are still supporting Russia. Belarus, Armenia, Kazakhstan, Kyrgyzstan, these are countries all around here, and Ukraine is right here. So you see, Armenia is here, but Belarus is right above Ukraine. Kazakhstan, Kyrgyzstan, we know Cuba is also a supporter. India has been a long time friend of Russia, but as well as of Ukraine. China, they have been working really well. Uh, and then the map here on the bottom left hand side, this is Ukraine. Again, I'm kind of trying to put it into perspective. We have Belarus, Poland, Slovakia, Romania. And these are these countries where the Ukrainian people are running off to so that they can escape war. That's what we see. Yeah. Um, Azerbaijan is a country where Putin once brokered a truce between Armenia and Azerbaijan. And even if Azerbaijan is not going to support Russia, it has not yet joined forces against it, and we don't foresee it openly joining forces against Russia. So it is not supporting Russia, but it is doubtful that it will join any forces against Russia because of its history with Russia. Iran, we know Iran, US has put sanctions against Iran, and Russia supported Iran during the Syrian war. Uh, so Iran is expected to support Russia. Cuba has always been a close ally of the Russians and will be supporting Russia. India is very, very interesting because India has good relations with Russia, the Russian Federation, as well as Ukraine. And for now, it has maintained a neutral position as a non aligned state. And China is the world's biggest economy, no doubt. It is also called Asian dragon. and it is one of Russia's major trading partners. Russia and China together can today have the capability to lead the world. And there is a definite danger about what China is going to do, and we'll see what happens. According to the Chinese government, the US should set aside the mentality of the Cold War and take seriously the security concerns that Russia holds. And what are the security concerns that Russia has? It says that if Ukraine is allowed to join NATO, it will be a threat to Russia. Other countries are not taking that seriously. They think it is just an excuse to invade Ukraine. But according to the Chinese government, they say that they should take Russia's security concerns really seriously. And if, in case of a real conflict, China may support Russia, but as of right now, and when I say in case of a conflict, means in case of a worldwide conflict. But according to the current status, China is taking a position to, they want to be more taking they want to take diplomatic measures, and so they're positioning themselves for that, and they are not actively supporting or not supporting anyone. I spoke about conflict. I do want to mention that we say the war is already going on, but at the same time, I'm talking about conflict has not started. What I'm mentioning is the nuclear conflict. There right now, thank God, there has not been any nuclear warfare that started. And then the other is a global conflict where other countries also partake in this war, so that there's definitely a danger of that, and we have been able to keep that under wraps till now. That's pretty much it. um, this is my last slide. This is just some sources. I used Wikipedia, but most important is the President of Ukraine site. It is president.gov.ua. And when you just do president.gov.ua, you go to the Ukrainian site in the Ukrainian language. But if you do a /en, it takes you to the English site. There are news site there, and then there is a site where that specifically talks about the different speeches that President Zelensky has made and is currently making. I encourage all of you to go and check this out. This is the official site, and become more aware about what's happening. And I hope you are able to, with your awareness, be able to participate in what's going on in the current affairs in a manner that will help resolve the conflict. All right. Take care, everyone. Bye bye.